What's up, people? Jean Carlos here with Total Body Training, where I help you get lean, gain muscle, and build confidence. And this is Fit Tips episode number 24. And today we have a special episode of Fit Tips. It's our Q&A episode featuring kids. So why kids? Because they're like our future or something, right? Except for you, Kevin. Get your finger out of your nose. You know how many germs are up in there? And look at you. I'm definitely going to tell your mom, and you know she ain't gonna be happy about that issue, you little baby. Hey, and you two, get your finger down. Do you even know what that means? Gosh. Kids. Last week, I asked my Facebook followers if they had any fitness or health related questions, and I wrote down my favorite questions. And here today, I'm going to answer them, but I'm gonna have two amazing, awesome kids read those questions back in your honor, I guess, today. So, if you had a question and I've chosen you, one of these little children will be reading it for you, and they're gonna say your name at the beginning of each question. So, yeah, watch out. It should be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so go ahead and just say, hey, I'm Elena Martinez.
Okay. Hey, I'm Elena Martinez. Hi, I'm Randy Martinez. This first question is from Christian Lee. How much is too much? I tend to overdo it when I work out. Then I get off track due to strain or injury.
This is a question that I hear all the time from people who are beginners, and really in order to understand or answer this question specific to your needs, Christian, we're going to need to delve a little bit deeper into why you're having the kinds of issues that you're having. So what I actually did, listeners, is I went and asked Christian online a little bit more about what was going on with him because I needed more context to understand how to help him. And as it turns out, Christian explained to me that he likes to run, and when he goes running, he runs about 2 miles in about 45 minutes. That's how he takes. So he takes his time when he's doing these runs, and what happens is around 40 minutes, he starts to feel some really severe, uncomfortable pain within his joints and his knees. And in addition to that, he'll end up taking these really long breaks because of that pain. So the next day he'll wake up, maybe he'll be in discomfort, and then he'll take another day off, but it won't get better, and he's concerned to jump back into running and make his pain worse. He went on to explain that when he rides his bike for exercise, he doesn't feel that same kind of discomfort inside of his knees. But when he bikes, he doesn't feel like he's getting quite as good of a workout. And I understand, as a former runner myself, or somebody who periodically does some sprinting and jogging, cycling just doesn't quite feel the same or doesn't have that same kind of level of intensity as running, for me at least, and you would agree. Here's the thing. Chances are that because you're having discomfort when you're running, and it's not happening when you're cycling, and you didn't say this, but I'm assuming that you're not having pain in your knees day to day. So when you're standing, hanging out, walking around your office, doing whatever, that you're not really feeling any kind of pain or discomfort. So what I would assume is that there is a possibility that the reason that you're having this pain in your knees is due to the way that you are striking the ground when you run. This is based on my own personal experience. Before I ran my first marathon and before I ran 5Ks and things like that, I found out that I was striking the ground in a way that was causing a lot of knee pain, and I was using something called a heel strike. So there are 3 different kinds of striking that most people run with. There is heel striking, there is midfoot striking, and there's forefoot striking. Other people would say it's being a rear foot runner, a midfoot runner, or a forefoot runner, or a toe runner. And for a lot of people, there's an immense amount of discomfort that arises when you strike the ground with your heel first. So if you're running and you crash down with your heel touching the ground first as you're running, it can actually create tension and discomfort in the knees. At least that was the case for me. Now, I know that a lot of people, when you talk about this topic, can get a little bit heated because they say, oh, there isn't enough information that suggests that causes a problem. However, it's been my personal experience and experience of many other people who run, that running on the mid of your foot or running more on the toes of your foot, kind of like you see sprint distance runners or long distance runners, or even like animals that are good at running, like cheetahs, kind of bouncing on the front of their feet, that when we run that way, it's more efficient. you will save yourself any kind of pain and discomfort within these. That was my experience. And you'll find that you might find that you're running a little bit faster because you've got a little bit more spring in your step when you're moving.
This question comes from Lisa Roberts. Does muscle weigh more than fat?
Hey Lisa, that's a great question. Let's clarify this. A pound is a pound, meaning 1 pound of muscle weighs the same as a pound of fat. Just like a 10-pound dumbbell weighs the same as a 10-pound kettlebell. The difference between a pound of muscle and a pound of fat is that muscle is more dense and compact than fat. Meaning that 1 pound of muscle on the human body literally takes up less space on your body. It fills up less space because it's smaller in size than fat. So fat makes you literally look bigger.
This question comes in from Jonathan Sidwell. If I never worked out or paid attention to fitness before, where would be a good place to start?
Jonathan, that's a great question. When you're a beginner, there are a few different ways that we can go with your training. And what I would have to ask you is what your goals are. And I did ask you a little bit further, and you mentioned that you just want to feel better, you want to have a little bit more energy in your life, just get a little bit better shape. If that's the case, what I would recommend is one of two things. First, let's say that you want to learn how to lift weights. I would strongly recommend that you start off with something that's a little bit more simple to understand and you get with a trainer either in a group training facility or with a one-on-one trainer who has experience working with people who are beginners and someone who can teach you the fundamentals of powerlifting. In my opinion, powerlifting is a little bit easier to teach and it works out your body in tremendous ways. So what we're looking at is learning how to squat, bench, and deadlift with someone who has experience and also someone who can teach you like what the proper volume is for someone who's a beginner, what sets and reps should look like, all these things that will help build a solid routine and eventually hopefully some kind of program for you. That is where I would start, learning those fundamentals of powerlifting because I think they're just much easier to learn and much more helpful than just hopping on a machine. I remember that when I first started, I actually worked out with my dad. We would just kind of like walk around the gym and just hop on random machines and be like, oh, this one does that and this one does this, and never really having any kind of schedule or rhyme or reason for what we were doing. So you're going to want to find somebody who can do that for you. Now, if you get a trainer who does not know how to put those things together in a way that is constructive or they give you some kind of plan or program, then maybe you need to reconsider who you're working with. If you need suggestions for what a good trainer can look like, by all means, send me a message and I can give you some suggestions for what you should look for in a solid trainer. Maybe being in a gym is a little bit intimidating to you. Maybe you've never been the athletic type or had that kind of identity, I guess. Like myself, I didn't do that. I played video games and skateboarded and did other stuff in high school. I wasn't interested in sports. If you're that kind of person, then maybe you should start off with something simpler. And I know this is gonna shock people, but I would recommend something much simpler, like going for a walk maybe, and doing that 3 to 5 times a week to kind of get you going, get you in the process of moving, get you familiar with your body. Now, going for a walk isn't as exciting as, you know, deadlifting 300 pounds or something like that, and you're certainly probably not gonna take a picture of it for your Instagram account like everyone else these days. However, it is exciting because you're working on developing and growing yourself. So we're all about baby steps here, and if going to the gym is a bit much for you or a little bit scary, don't be afraid or feel like you're not doing anything by starting off with something simple. I think that every year around New Year's, we get a wave of people in the fitness industry who want to change everything about their lives, and they put way too much on their plate. They try to take on all these new habits and things like that. I'd recommend starting simple. So either start something simple like walking or going for a light jog or maybe going cycling about 4 to 5 times a week, or get with a solid trainer who can teach you how to work out correctly. Those are my 2 recommendations. Anyways, people, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you want more fitness tips and more advice or suggestions, feel free to follow me here on Facebook or follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel there. Please like this video and share it with your friends if you think there's anybody in your life who might benefit from this. Question of the day. What's your question of the day? Do you have any other questions that I can answer in a future episode of Fit Tips? If so, please leave them down in the comments section below. You never know who you might inspire down in those comments sections, so by all means, ask away. Also, real quick, we are going to come back to the regular format of Fit Tips. This isn't our usual thing here with the questions and answer. That's just something that I'm going to be doing maybe once or twice a month. So the next video will go back to our normal style of Fit Tips. So watch out, that one's going to be a good one. Until next time, peace.